Hey guys, we're going to take a small break from gun content to talk about what I consider one of the most underrated pieces of EDC. That is flashlights. Now, a lot of you may think that a flashlight may not be needed, that you might not go out at night, but there's a lot of uses for a flashlight, especially a high power flashlight. So if you guys have seen my older videos, you know I've been using Modlite for years. I think they're one of the better flashlight companies out there. I also think Surefire is great, but specifically today we're going to talk about Modlite. And the reason we're going to talk about that is because about 8 months ago, they came out and they released the NOXON line. Now these two here, these are specifically the EVAK branch of NOXON. And I have both heads here. So you got two beam options with this setup. Well, traditionally they've always had two different beam options, and we're going to kind of dump some information on you so you guys understand what these are, what the beam options are capable of, and what makes the NOXON line kind of a game changer. Because traditionally, for as long as I remember, Modlite, as much as I will say they've been one of the best lights out there, they've been pretty pricey. And I think the NOXON line kind of shook that up a little bit. And I'm curious to see how this ripples down throughout the industry, because if you're like me, I feel like, and most people I know, I feel like we live in a world where everything seems to get more expensive. So it's kind of nice to see companies re-innovate to go and make things just as good, but more affordable. So we'll talk more deeply about that in a little bit, just so I can get some information out to you guys about what these are specifically. So the EVAK line of NOXON, these are the handhelds. They also have the Havoc, which is the rifle mounted optics. That's what I have on both my Rattler LT and my Daniel Defense PDW. I think they are probably, for the size, especially like those are the smaller ones, the amount of light you get out is phenomenal. So just like those, these also come in two sizes. These are what is called the Core, which take the full-size battery. They also have a Mini, which is shorter than this, and that takes the smaller battery. The runtime on the Core is about 75 minutes, and for the Minis, which I don't own any of the Minis in the handhelds, because for me, I think that's a pretty good size. The runtime on the Mini is 35 minutes. So you do get the same power, you just get less runtime. So to give a little bit of a explanation of the difference in the head, so this one here, this is the T1, which is more of a throw focused light. It's going to have a tighter beam, less spill. This here, I'm got to look at my notes here real quick. The numbers coming on this, you get 680 lumens, but you get 69,000 candela. So this is going to be very comparable to what their previous model that they still sell, the OKW, which I also have that in a handheld. I've been using that for a long time. And then we'll talk about this one. This here is the G1. Hopefully you guys can see that. This is more the general purpose. So not as tight as a beam, a little bit more spill. This thing is coming in at 1,350 lumens and 54,000 candela. Now this is more similar to their PLH V2 head. So what's really cool about these lights in general, and just anything from Modlite, is they come with a lifetime guarantee and they're made right in Texas. You guys know I love stuff made right here in the USA. I always try to buy more products that are made here. I think it's the right thing to do, given if you have the option to. Obviously, there's some countries that put out phenomenal products that we can't get here, but whenever there's a company that is here and I can purchase from them, I try to do that. It's just what I believe is the better choice, and that's completely biased. So let's talk about what comes with these when you purchase this. You will obviously get the flashlight. This is a little add-on, this piece here. I think this is like 20 bucks. They sell it as an accessory. I always get these on there because for me, I like having it hooks on the pants, hooks around anything in my bag to keep it secure. Anytime I buy one, I just throw one into the cart, and I love using these. Also, I definitely buy extra batteries and the little plastic battery container. I like carrying one of those in every one of my bags because you never know. You might need an extra battery. 75 minutes is not super long, especially if you forget to charge it. So it's nice to have extras. So it's cool that on their website you can stack all that stuff in one shot and get it. So what really makes these the game changer is the value, right? So if you guys have ever looked or purchased Modlite before, we can't use real numbers here on YouTube, but roughly the price of their original flashlights have been, you know, the same as a budget-friendly pistol. So check it out yourself. I obviously can't say the numbers because that's flagged for some reason, but check it out. The price of it is not cheap. Now, these guys, these are almost 60% of that. So I would say the cost of one of these is relatively the cost of, you know, a good EDC bag. And it's almost like you could almost get two of these in the NOXON model for one of the originals, which to me, that is revolutionary in a sense that that price may have been a hard barrier for entry for some people to justify. I can definitely understand you don't want to spend that kind of money if you can only get one, or if you have to decide between, you know, a couple hundred rounds of ammo and going to the range and training or getting a flashlight. I can see how that would be a barrier and that would prevent some people from getting it. But seeing that you get the same exact performance and virtually, I mean, it's the same size. Really, the only difference I notice with this is like it's a smoother texture that doesn't have as many of the cuts in and like engraved in it. Performance-wise, I have to say it's pretty much the same. But I included some videos, and if you guys don't mind, give a thank you and a like to my wife for being willing to help me out with this. She threw my mask on here, and I think she had a little bit too much fun. But I want to show you guys the exact difference between the T1 and the G1, so you guys can make an educated decision on what would work best for you, and show you in a real world scenario how these play out. So I did 5 different distances, 4 different locations. 2 were inside my house, 3 were outside. And I wanted you guys to get to see, you know, if you had to use these, what a real life scenario would look like. So I think just shooting, you know, down a long corridor with nothing to see wouldn't give it as much understanding of how the light works and what the lumens do. So let's check that out real quick. You guys can see a real world comparison of these 2 beams, and then we'll get into my final thoughts and what I prefer, although I do have both, obviously. Primarily, I bought the second one just so I could do this video for you guys, so you're welcome. But let's look at that real quick, and then we'll come back. We'll talk about the final thoughts and what I think each one is better for and which one I carry more often. All right, test number 1, we are doing 25 feet down a hallway. First, we're gonna do the T1. And then we're gonna do the G1. Again, T1 and the G1. Test number 2, we are 25 feet away looking down a stairwell. We're gonna start with the T1, then the G1, again the T1, and the G1. All right, for test number 3, we are approximately 45 feet. We are outside. It is a 30% illumination from the moon right now. We're gonna start with the T1, then the G1, again the T1, and the G1. All right, guys, test number 4, we are outside. We are at 100 yards here. We're gonna start with the T1, go into the G1, again the T1,
and the G1. So this is going to be our 5th and final test. We are going to do 200 feet now. Again, starting with the T1, switching to the G1, back to the T1, and the G1.
So I hope that helped you guys kind of understand how these beams differ. The way I kind of break it down for me, and I use this in my real world application, the way I set up my rifles. So for the throw focus or the OKW, the T1, that to me, it seems like something more, if you're going to be outside, you're going to be possibly shooting long distance or need something for long distance. That long beam is staying tightly is going to be better for distance, in my opinion. I look at the G1, or they say the general purpose also, which is the PLHV2. I would see that more for a home defense. Like I have that set up with my Daniel defense that's running subs with a suppressor. Like that to me, I'm going to be using for more close range indoor applications. So obviously that's just my opinion and how I see it and what makes sense to me. But you guys can tell me what you think each one would be better for. And obviously the one thing we got to talk about the most is I realize that not everyone who watches these videos can get a gun, can have a gun in their state, in their country. So really a strong flashlight is such a great tool in the world of self-defense. Even if you're the type of person who doesn't want to harm someone else, but you just want to protect yourself, having the capability to shine a bright light in someone's eyes, even if that gives you just a few moments to escape that danger, is a priceless tool. So guys, I hope this video helped you out. I hope you go check out these lights. I don't get paid to do this. I purchase these with my own money. I have no affiliation with Modlite other than the fact that I love their product. I love it enough to buy multiple of them. I run one of these in every one of my bags. And I love it enough to make videos like this for you guys because I want to help you guys out and give you the most real world experience that I can to help you make a smart purchase decision. So if this helped you guys out, please give me a thumbs up down there. If you have any questions or comments, as always, drop it in the comments. I'll get back to you guys as soon as I can. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Peace.